at all because I already had my thoughts together prior to even beginning to write the book.
Okay, okay. And was you excited once you finished, or was it something you wish you would have added in the book? How did you feel about your overall book after you finished?
Well, initially I wasn't excited, and then when those people who came to my book signing and told me how pleased they were after reading the book, then I began to feel, a little better about it. I felt that, it was worthwhile. It was worthwhile.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. How was your book signing?
The book signing was, it was fantastic. We sold out of books at our first book signing, and we had another book signing in my hometown of Lexington, Kentucky. We sold out there and got some more orders, and then I was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and we sold the books that we had there. And I was invited to a motivational speaking program up in Tucker, Georgia, and we did fair there. And we have another book signing in the in the planning stage again back in Lexington, Kentucky, somewhere during the middle of May.
Okay, okay, awesome. And then tell me this, when you sat down and wrote a book, did you ever get discouraged? Did you ever think about maybe I shouldn't follow through? I always ask people, did they ever think about quitting?
No, not once, not once. However, I'm not concerned about being politically correct, but I was concerned about things I may have said that would have touched someone in the wrong way. But when you're writing, it's original, it's your own idea, so you have to live with what you write.
Okay.
And let the chips fall where they may, so to speak.
Okay. Now, being a former teacher and coach, how much did you actually put into the book from that experience? How did that experience influence the book?
Well, as I said, most of my life was teaching, and football, as a coach, you are a teacher. And I was an official at the college level and high school level, and I was a player, and I just brought it all together. I'm like I used to sit by myself and watch things unfold in life, and I would relate it to football, and that's how it came to be.
Okay, and it looked pretty nice. Thank you for the copy. I actually have a copy in front of me. I get a chance to breeze all the way through it, but I see you have 21 chapters. Which chapter did you enjoy writing the most?
All of them. All of them. All of them.
Because I'm trying to pull out something that entice people to purchase the book, something they can look forward to when they read the book, what they can expect.
Well, each chapter is about something that relates to life. If you look at the content page, you will see that every chapter deals with something that takes place in life.
So, for example, chapter 1 talks about the reader. So I just want to kind of go over the contents if we can, just to kind of brief to give a little quick synopsis of the book.
Okay. Well, as I said, I want to share my thoughts with and knowledge, with the reader about life in general and how it relates to football. And basically, that's it. That was my opening chapter, and I want the reader to know what they were about to engage while reading this book.
Okay, okay. All right, so we're going to go into a quick commercial break on Downtown Hot Radio on Walil Archer on the Real Rap Radio Show. See the content. I'm gonna go to the contents for a second.
Okay.
I got a commercial playing. All right, there. So you don't really have to go chapter by chapter, but just whichever one you want to highlight and speak on and give some background information on, whether it's chapter 1, 8, or 15, or 13. Just anything that you want to maybe pull out of those.
Find something. Let's look at chapter 8.
Chapter 8. Okay. All right, we're back at 8 seconds. We're back, we're live on Downtown Hot Radio. I'm your host, Walil Archer from the Rural Rap Radio Show. I'd like to thank you guys again for tuning in. I have my special guest with me, Michael, the writer and author of Football, the Game of Life. So as we was on break, we was talking about, you wanted to go over chapter 8?
Yes, chapter 8, the player's role as leaders.
Okay. And what made you come up with that title?
Well, because everything begins with leadership. Regardless what it may be, it begins with leadership. Even politics, running a school, running any kind of organization, it begins with leadership. Okay. For instance, on the field, you have a quarterback who is the leader, and he has people around him, just like if he were the president of the United States, he has people around him. And he has those people who are in the infrastructure, the players on the bench cheering him on. And then he has his cabinet. The president has a cabinet. Well, the quarterback has a cabinet. They're on the field with him, his running backs, his receivers. So, as I said, those things that take place in life, they take place in football as well. And as I said, once again, it all begins with leadership.
Okay. And I want to talk more about your experience, again, being a teacher, being a coach. I see that you're very well dressed. Also looking at the book, or I think on your bio you had a bow tie. So obviously you like fashion, you like dressing. So for any young listeners that I may have, I always try to pour some information to inspire them to dress better. So maybe elaborate on your dressing and your thoughts on dressing.
Well, I believe that you dress for success. You know, many people have written about it, talked about it, but people have 15 seconds to get an opinion of you. And when you present yourself looking very techy and unpresentable, that's the image they take away. And those 15 seconds could determine whether or not you will be welcomed into their circle or whatever, or given an opportunity to be employed, things of that nature. So it's like you got 15 seconds to impress somebody. And if you don't do it in those 15 seconds, you won't know the outcome. As when I came into the studio meeting you for the first time, you complimented me on my dress, and I appreciate it. But that gave you a perspective as to this type of person that I'll be talking to, so to speak. And that's what, you know, I've worked in personnel before, and when people would come into my office, I could tell from their dress how serious they were about wanting to work for the organization I was representing. So, like I said, you got 15 seconds to make a first impression.
And you was also early too, so I love that. That's another thing that was always good.
That's important.
Definitely.
That's important. Punctuality is always important. And I also talk about time in the book as well, because we all get the same amount of time. And what is that? 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. And you try to make the best of it, because after today, you can't go back. You can't go back another minute, hour, or day. So take the advantage of the time that you have while you're here, because you won't be here forever.
So I guess you got good time management skills.
I like to think I do. I like to think I do. And it's one of those things that we need to instill in our young people, because they are so idle when it comes to time, and they think that they're going to be here forever, and we have to teach them that you must continue to take the advantage of time. And the older you get, the less time you have.
Awesome. And how was your experience as being a teacher? Because that's pretty awesome.
Oh man, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching. It was in my forte to teach. And the only regret I have about teaching is that I didn't go into it sooner. I went into teaching more years than I'd like to think after college, because I worked in corporate America and I would like to have spent that time teaching. Of course, you can't get it back, but I enjoy teaching so much and giving back and sharing my experiences and watching young people grow and growing young people. To this day, I still support teachers because I know they're doing one fantastic job in spite of those things that are in the climate today when it comes to teaching and education. But I loved it. I loved it. And all of my daughters are teachers now. I have 3 daughters. They're all elementary school teachers.
Now, I don't know how you feel about this. It's a little off the topic of the book. But teachers to me is more valuable than sports. So when I compare the two as far as sports and the athletes and how much they actually make versus what teachers get paid, I'm really astonished how they treat teachers.
You know, that's so unfortunate because there is not a profession in this world that's not begin with a teacher. The teachers are responsible for all professions, even football. You know, there was a coach who was a teacher who taught that young man how to be an athlete, how to play the game, whichever game it may be, and he was a teacher. So all professions come from a teacher.
And I actually have a 9-year-old, and this year he's in the 3rd grade. This is best year having a male teacher because it's not a lot of male teachers. When I go to school, parent-teacher conference, there's a lot of female teachers. And this is best year. He seemed like he learning more. It seemed like he adapt more, less problem, less disciplinary problem, less fighting. And I really wish it was more male teachers in the school system. But with the pay structure, I guess that's the challenge. What do you think the challenge is with getting good teachers?
Well, they are so sought after now. And a good teacher, they have to have gone to a good institution that takes pride in teaching them how to teach. Everybody can't do this, but the key is having the passion. As a teacher, you must have a passion for the job, for the work. And if you don't have the passion to be a teacher, you shouldn't be in the field. You really shouldn't be in the field because those kids, our kids, they need you. They need you. And if you're not there day in and day out and giving 100% day in and day out, then you need to find another field to go into.
Now, I'm looking at chapter 15, which covers racism and equality. And I guess you deal with that sometimes in the school system, or do you deal with that in the school system at all?
Well, you know, as I said, in the game of football, those things in life are parallel as well. You have racism in school systems, you have racism in football. Still to this day, you have racism in this society. And it's one of those things that no matter how hard you try, you will never be able to eliminate it totally. Yes, there is racism in school systems and football and life.
Now, have you ever played football?
Yes.
Why you laugh?
No, because that was one of the extensions of my writing the book. Yes, I played. My freshman year, I played at the University of Kentucky. I played at Kentucky State University, where I graduated from. I had a cup of coffee with the Bengals for a tryout, and I was initiated in 2011 into the Kentucky State Football Hall of Fame. So yes, I have had a lot of experience with football. I coached football. I coached at Winston-Salem State University. I coached at Morris Brown, and I coached at Mays High School. So and I also officiated. So I've been very involved in the game. I officiated on the college level and the high school level.
Now, I forget the exact medical term, but as far as like concussions, as far as them getting hit in the head, does it have some validity to that?
Oh, yes, it does. Fortunately, while playing, I only had one, and I don't see any negative ramifications for such a concussion. But anyway, some guys, they do suffer because they usually have 1, 2, 3, 4 concussions, and it's not good because let me explain a concussion. A concussion is when your brain is separated from the skull. Okay, that's not normal. And it takes something like 18 hours for the brain to reattach itself to the skull. And if that happens to you several times, then it's bound to leave some damage over the years. Of course, I mean the movie. I haven't seen the movie yet that Will Smith played in, but I heard that they kind of pinpointed.
And then when we go to chapter 18, which is bullying, I guess that's also something you experience in the school as well as on the football field.
Yes, you do. You do. And recently we had some bullying in the NFL down in the Miami Dolphins camp. They were bullying a guy, and he was, he left the organization because of the bullying. But like I say, if it takes place in football, it takes place in the real world. And bullying takes place, excuse me, in the school system. It takes place in football. It takes place in life. You have managers who manage people who are bullies. You have principals in schools who are bullies. You have people who are in leadership positions who are bullies. And like I say, so I'm basically saying it exists in both places, football and in life in general.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to your next, well, not your next chapter, but chapter 6 covers fans and family. So how's that dealing with the family? Sometimes they want their son to be the quarterback and they're not qualified. How do you deal with that?
Well, you have to understand that every young man does not have the same talent. You have to understand that going into the sport. But you said family. I talked about family and how they support you as an athlete. Okay, and I talked about the family tie. For instance, when you out on the football field, your family supports you because that's your job. They support you. And they are your cheerleaders, okay? Now, when you take off that uniform, then your family, they're still your cheerleaders when you pick up that attaché case and put on your three-piece suit and go to work. They're cheering, not as loud as they were when you were playing football, but they're still your support cast. So the family is important. They are still your fans.
Okay, let's talk about your bio. So you was born in Lexington, Kentucky?
Yes.
You went to Lexington Public Schools?
Yes, I did.
So in your opinion, schools, I guess, getting worse, getting better? What do you think about charter schools? Or do they have charter schools there?
They do. I'm a proponent of public schools. I support public school, and I'm a product of the public school, and the majority of the people in this nation are products of public school. On down to the president, to many CEOs of corporations, and I still believe that public education is the best education.
Okay. And I see you have a master's degree?
Yes, I do. I have a master's degree from Cambridge College in Boston, and I have a educational specialist degree from Memorial College in Tennessee, Hargett, Tennessee, Lincoln Memorial.
Okay, awesome. So what is your thoughts for some of the young folks that may not want to go to college or want to take up a trade, or how important is college these days versus, I don't know, $20,000 a year or whatever they charge, depending on what school you go to?
I believe that it is important. It is important, but it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody. When kids graduate from high school this year, many of them will go to college. Many of them will get directly into the workforce, and some will go to trade schools. But college, it's a wonderful experience, but it just may not be for everybody. It is not for everybody.
Awesome. We're going to go to Gwen Jackson. She's been kind of quiet over there. Hello again.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Yes, thank you so much for doing this. As a publisher, I try to work with people who I feel like have something to say. And, when I met Michael, I was really excited about working with him on this project just because, one, he's a guy. There's not a lot of books out there where guys are giving their opinion on stuff. I think a lot of times we don't ask and we don't want to know what your opinion is. And so I was really excited that he wanted to share that, his experiences